Greetings, YouTube. I don't actually play computer games. The last computer game I played from start to finish was probably Dungeon Hack, and that when it was new. That was an AD&D based game, a pure dungeon crawl. It was just randomly generated dungeons, 20 levels of them. You fought your way to the bottom and you killed the dragon. But I had fun with it. And the last really full-fledged role-playing game was probably Ultima 5. But I haven't really played anything since then. I can get kind of obsessive about them, and I don't want to burn that much time. And a lot of the modern games out there take more computing power than I've got. I'm only running a dual-core system with a very basic graphics card. And they're not that cheap, and I would rather spend my money on knives and flashlights and role-playing games. And again, it would just chew up more of my time than I'm already sinking into the internet as far as like YouTube is concerned. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I've got some 371 subscriptions. But I do enjoy Let's Plays on YouTube. It lets me have a vicarious connection to computer games without the commitment that becoming obsessed about them would entail. And I've noticed something over the last month or so. Now, some of them are pure tactical simulations, like Call of Duty, which I have no interest in whatsoever. And then there's like XCOM, which the gentleman is doing, and that's kind of fun. It's also a kind of a tactical simulation, but a little role-playing element thrown in there, a little science fiction flavor. I kind of like that. And of course, listening to the gentleman weave role-playing elements into a game that was never intended to have as much as he's added is always entertaining. And then there's games like Death Spank, which I watched Hank Green of the Vlogbrothers fame do, and that's like an interactive Looney Tunes cartoon, so there's, you know, just kind of very wacky action. It's kind of fun to do. And then there's the ones that have a little more depth and a little bit of moral conundrum for me. And the two biggest ones I can think of would be Assassin's Creed and BioShock. Now, I watched Assassin's Creed for like 3 or 4 episodes on Hank Green's gaming channel because Hank Green is phenomenally bad at Assassin's Creed. And watching him make mistake after mistake was pretty darn funny. However, everything he's killing in that game, even though it's a game, is a human being. Yes, they're just mooks or guards or mercenaries, but they're people. And I began to find that really disturbing. The glee he would take in hopping out of a hay bale to pull some poor schmuck just walking by that happened to be on the other team and killing them. The glee he would take in a really good, you know, kill move. It just felt wrong to me. So I stopped watching it. And then we have Rapture and BioShock. I've been watching the gentleman's Let's Play for that, and I'll continue to watch them because the storyline and the gentleman's are entertaining, and I plan on doing a fairly in-depth video about that game once his Let's Play is finished. But everyone he's facing in that game, though they may be insane, and all of them are insane, is a human being, or at least was before they started using their own DNA as Play-Doh. And I find that disturbing. Not to mention, the first thing the character does when he encounters a completely and utterly alien chemical is to stick it in his veins, which is dubious and strange in my book. I find a weird chemical, and I've found many weird chemicals in my life. I've never had a desire to inject it into my body. Not to mention I have a needle phobia. So that bothers me. That you're just wantonly killing people. They're human beings, though they're crazy human beings, and then you're looting your body and going on to the next one, trying to find your next drug connection. That's not a moral compass I want to follow. But the latest video game that has really been hitting the YouTube channels has been Skyrim, which I am thoroughly enjoying. I'm watching 4 different Let's Plays of that from 4 different people. 2 men and 2 women. The gentleman's game, and I can't remember the other people, 3 channels I'm playing off the top of my head. And I'm watching them because they have a much different way of doing things. And the gentleman's playing it pretty much as a heroic character. Slight moral ambiguity, but not a whole lot. The nice thing about Skyrim is that lots of the things you're facing are animals and monsters, so you're just not wantonly slaying human beings just to loot their bodies, though that does happen. but you're usually killing people who've attacked you first. But there's also a woman out there, K-pop, K-P-O-P-P, I think, or P-O-P, and she's playing a really evil person. She's a werewolf. She's a member of the Dark Brotherhood. She kills people for money, just for giggles. And her playstyle is interesting, and she's showing me parts of the world that I would not see otherwise, which is why I'm watching, and she's relatively entertaining. But she kills for money. And even though it's a game, I find that morally objectionable. And when you're a werewolf, you're killing to gain more power by consuming your victims. You're killing them to eat them to keep your werewolf form for 30 more seconds. That also I have a problem with. And I find it interesting that I'm applying my real-world moral view to the games at hand. Now, Skyrim is a game that I think I would really enjoy playing, but again, time sink, money, things like that, I'm not going to get into it at the moment. Maybe a couple years down the line when I have a better system and it's really dirt cheap at that time, I may play it for fun. I would love to play a Nord barbarian type with, you know, a two-handed weapon and a heavy smithing and maybe a little archery minor, or a red guard with a weapon in one hand and a spell in the other, or even a high elf mage with dual spells. These are all three models that I would find interesting to play. But I would play them as heroes. I would be out there hunting the werewolves to extinction. I would be digging the Dark Brotherhood out and dragging their dread mother into the light, staking her in the sun just so I could stand back and watch her be killed. I would be a hero. I would be rooting out evil and destroying it and making the world a better place. I would not be wallowing in the amoral aspects that the game presents me with. I find that weird. I find it disturbing. I think if you do that for fun, it says something about you. That if you revel in the dark fantasies, even in a game, that is going to have an imprint on you. You're reinforcing thought patterns which I think aren't healthy. But that's just me. And I'm not telling other people what they should do. But it is something I've noticed in the past month or so. And I prefer watching people play heroes. I prefer running characters that are heroes. I don't play evil characters for a reason. I don't allow evil characters in my games for a reason. I want heroes. Not anti-heroes. Not evil people. I guess I'm a slave to the conventional in that regard. So, I have a question for my viewers. Do you find real-world moral quandaries impacting your enjoyment of video games, or is it something you don't even consider it? You just plug the game in, you run it any way you want, and you just enjoy yourself. I'd be interested in knowing.